Hi everyone, welcome to the Essex Sport Facebook live page. My name is Arlene. I'm going to run a 30-minute yoga session for you today. If you just want to make sure you've got plenty of space to move around, a yoga mat or a Pilates mat or something similar would be good so that the surface that you're on isn't slippery. It might be nice also to have some blankets or cushions nearby and maybe some water. Great, so just I encourage you to work at your own pace, just do movements that feel comfortable for you, and I hope you enjoy the session. Great. Okay, so we're going to start by laying back on our mat and coming to a comfortable position. Good, so as you come to settle into your mat, just check in. Sometimes it's nice to have your knees bent, and sometimes it's nice to have your legs straight. So just notice what feels comfortable for you. And you're welcome to place a cushion under your head, or you might place a blanket. We won't stay too long on the mat like this. Good, so just take a few moments to adjust and feel comfortable in your positioning. Good, so just notice your touching points on the mat, whether your knees are bent or your legs are straight. And notice if you feel like your body's in alignment, so if the right side kind of mirrors or matches the left side. And just take a moment to observe your body. So scan and notice your feet and your legs, your hands and arms, your shoulders, your back, your stomach. Notice your chest space. Notice the muscles of your face and your eyes. And just observe if you feel tension at all. And can you notice the places where you touch the ground and start to soften and relax into the mat? So just feel that the ground supports you, and you can gently begin to relax that space behind you. And as you observe now your body, let your focus come to your breath. And observe your inhalation, the temperature of the air as it enters and where it enters. And notice your exhalation, the temperature, maybe it's warmer or changed. And the parts of your body that begin to move. And just take a moment to count your breath. So observe your inhalation and its length. And then let your exhalation feel relaxed but without effort. Notice the rise and fall of your body. So just take another moment to feel and count your inhalation. Notice the number that it rises for as you count. And as you exhale, gentle release of your breath. You can soften through those touching points behind you on the mat. Good, 2 more rounds of breath here in the same manner. Counting your inhalation. Relaxing with your exhalation. Softening and letting go. Okay, and once more, observing the length and flow of your inhalation and your exhalation. Good. And when you're ready, just sense now the temperature of the space around you, the temperature of your skin, and you can gently start to just reconnect with your body, make little movements to awaken your fingers and your toes. And when it's comfortable, you can bend your knees and place the bottoms of your feet on the floor. And just check in and notice how much space feels comfortable between your feet. Good. And we're going to lift one foot off the floor. I'm going to lift my right foot off the floor and hold behind thigh or the front of your shin. And just relax for a moment through your touching points. Good. Notice the back of your head. You might bring your chin slightly in to lengthen the back of your neck. Long with your spine, relax your hips evenly into the ground. Good, and we'll start to make a little circle here. So you can imagine that there's a pencil on your knee and you're drawing a circle on the ceiling. You can go in either direction, but just notice how that feels. So you can it's really rotating the thigh in the hip socket. And as you make that rotation, just notice where your touching points are on the ground. So do you feel a little bit of sensation as you move your leg, or you move your thigh in the hip socket? How does that connect with your lower back or the places you touch the floor? Okay, and then keeping the right knee bent, or whichever knee you've bent, just rotate from your thigh to bring your knee out to the side and rest your ankle on the opposite side. So I'm resting my right ankle on my left thigh. And you can open your arms a bit out to the side here. And just feel again, you can make little adjustments to feel symmetrical in your hips. And then slowly start to rock side to side. So you can feel the weight transferring on the foot that's on the ground. So you feel a little sway right to left. And just notice how that feels. Maybe notice the range that feels comfortable. So just Do it as fast or slow as feels nice for you today. But you might start to feel a little release in your lower back, perhaps the outside edges of your hips. Good. Just observe how that feels. Good. Then we'll come back to stillness, and if you place that foot on the floor and just take a moment to notice in the center, how does the right side of your body feel compared to the left side of your body? Shoulders, hips, back, face. Good. And then we'll do those same movements on the other side. So lifting the other foot off the floor, support perhaps your thigh or your knee or the back of, or the top of your shin, and make little circles or big circles, whatever feels nice, and go in either direction, and which direction feels more comfortable, and maybe it's equally comfortable, maybe it feels different than when you did the other side, and just notice this without judgment, just observe. And good, lovely. And then when you're ready, we'll come to a stillness there, and just open your knee out to the side through that rotation in your thigh, and rest your ankle on the opposite thigh. And once that's in place, your hips feel aligned and even. You can start that little sway side to side again, right to left. And notice how that feels again on your body. Observe if you're feeling like you're lifting your body up towards the ceiling, and just maybe you can relax through your touching points behind you. See the back of your head and your shoulders can soften into that mat, and observe, is there any release that's created through this movement side to side in your back or your hips, perhaps. Good. And then we'll come back to the stillness, and you can place your foot on the floor. Then just take a nice full body stretch if that's comfortable. You can do that just with your arms, or also lengthen your legs away, and just feel that space that creates in your spine as if you're trying to touch the opposite walls with your fingers and toes. Good. And then as you exhale, bring just one knee to your chest. I'm bringing my right knee to your chest. If that's intense on your lower back, you can bend the other leg or keep it straight. See what you prefer. Option to bring your forehead up towards your knee. Good. And then relax, and we'll switch and do the other side. So inhale, long spine, arms overhead. Exhale, other knee folds towards your chest. Option to bring your forehead up if that's intense. Again, bending that knee. Lovely. Inhale again, full body stretch. Exhale, both knees to your chest. This time hold your shins or the back of your thighs, wherever it's comfortable. Little rock side to side, little massage. And you can draw circles on the ceiling as an option, or you might start to butterfly your knees open either direction. Just see what feels nice. You can feel again that connection of that movement from the front of your body, but with your relationship on the ground, just creating a little bit of massage effect. Good. And then when you're ready, either roll to one side or gently rock up, and we'll come up to all fours on hands and knees. Good. So as you sit up in all fours, have your hands about the width of your shoulders, and your wrists are under your shoulders. You're here, and your knees have about 2 fists between them, so they're directly under your hip space. Good. And just come to settle into the mat. Relax. Good. So it feels like your spine is nice and long. So we're going to do 2 rotations to the right side, or one side. So just reach one arm out to the side. I'm reaching my right arm out to the side. Rotate, and stay there with your arm lengthening away from you. And you might feel that create a little sense of stretch or openness in your chest space. Then bend your elbow and place your fingertips behind your head, so you can feel your elbow kind of lengthen away. But just do it as much as feels comfortable. Good. So here's the first rotation. As you exhale, rotate so your elbow comes towards the floor. And you can even bring your elbow to the other side, towards the other side of your body. Good. Then we'll open up again. Inhale, and this time extend your arm long, keep it long. You can look up at your fingers for a little additional stretch. Then as you exhale, lower your straight arm, and you can start to slide your arm between your wrist and knee. So I'm using my right arm, so I'm sliding it between my left wrist and knee, and just come into it as much as feels comfortable. So you might rest your head on the side of your head on the mat. If you want more, you can start to either bend the other arm's elbow and rest it on your tailbone, or extend it up towards the ceiling and start to look up towards the ceiling. So just come into that as much as feels comfortable. And you might start to feel a bit of a release through your shoulder blades, the side of your neck, and just soften through those touching points on the ground. Good. So one more breath here. Lovely. And then gently uncurl. We'll come back to all fours on hands and knees. Just take a moment. Notice how right side feels compared to left. And then we'll do the other side when you're ready. So starting with the elbow bend. Inhale, rotating. You might look up at your fingers. Then bend your elbow, hand behind your head. Exhale, rotating from your waist. Elbow slowly descending towards the floor. And you can start to bring that elbow towards the other side of your body. Then rotating again. Inhale, elbow up towards the ceiling. Extend your arm long. You might look up at your fingers. Feel your chest slowly open perhaps. Then exhale, straight arm lowers, sliding your hand between opposite wrist and knee. Stay wherever that's comfortable in that range. You can stay there. You might bend your elbow and rest the side of your head on the mat. And again, so the other arm you can either place on your lower back as an option. You might keep it on the floor, or you can extend it up towards the ceiling. So just come into that as much as feels comfortable. Perhaps relaxing now the side of your neck, your shoulder blades, your jaw. Good, and then we'll slowly uncurl back up to all fours on hands and knees. Good, so option for the next one, either puppy dog pose or child's pose. So for puppy dog pose, keep your hips above your knees, and you can slowly start to walk your hands forward. Stop at any point in that range for puppy dog pose. So at maximum, you might rest your forehead on the ground and let your arms, your shoulders feel comfortable, so you can adjust the width of your hands. Alternative, you might like to practice your child's pose, so bringing your bottom to your heels, and you can rest your forehead on the mat. So just really which one you prefer. You can even bring your hands either side of your feet or rest your hands on your lower back. So just notice where that's comfortable for you. Puppy dog pose or extended child's pose. Good, so one more breath here. Lovely, just relaxing through your touching points. And then we'll slowly walk our hands back underneath our shoulders and gently uncurl, coming back up to all fours. Good, just preparing now for downward facing dog. So if you tuck your toes under, bring your bottom to your heels, and soften your hands into the mat. Imagine there's a string on your tailbone, and as you exhale, that string slowly starts to lift your tailbone up, and just come to your down dog at your own pace, your own range. So you might keep your knees bent and really have your tailbone lengthening away from you. Make this your own, so if you might prefer movement to this, you can start to bend your knees, turn your head side to side. You might even start to bring a little flying dog by lifting one leg up at a time. You can stay, if you like that, you can stay with just the lift of the leg, or maybe start to lift your leg, bend your knee towards your navel, and extend your leg again before swapping to the other side. Good, so we'll just explore that at your own pace. If that becomes intense, it might be nice to come to child's pose instead, which also creates nice, lovely length in your spine and helps release the lower back. Good, so just another few rounds of our downward facing dog. Make it your own. Help it to relax your body and create space and length. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll come to stillness. If you're in child's pose, you might come up through all fours first, and then walk your hands to your feet, or feet to hands. Come to a forward fold, or Uttanasana. Notice where your feet are comfortable. You might like to have a bend in your knees. Option to rest your forearms here. You might rest your hands on your legs. Have that long spine, so it's more like a half back. You can rest your hands on the floor if that's comfortable. If you want to come into that deeper, you might bend your elbows and hold on to the opposite forearm with your forearms overhead, or you can even place your forearms behind your calf muscles and fold from your hip space, maintaining that length of the spine before you bring your chest towards your legs. Good, so a few breaths here. Just notice if the weight feels like it's connecting your foot evenly throughout the floor, so it's not forward or back or inward towards your big toes or outwards towards your little toes more. Just that nice sense of grounding. Good, one more breath here. Lovely to come out. If you may take a little bend in your knees, and you can either hinge up to standing or uncurl your spine up to standing. Just see which one you prefer. Slowly coming up with ease to a standing position. Lovely. So once you're upright, you can give everything a little shake if that's comfortable. Okay, so we're going to do a few balancing postures next. You're welcome to have a wall nearby or a chair that has some books on it so it doesn't wobble. Okay, so if you stand in your mountain pose with your feet together, and just start to notice your ankles underneath your knees, your hips above your knees, and your shoulders above your hips. So you just have that nice long spine. Your chin's parallel to the floor, and your head's just kind of resting on top of that long construction. Good. And feet, imagine they're in cement, and you're starting to draw your heels towards each other, so that activates your inner thighs and perhaps your bottom. And then relax. And just do that once more. So draw your thighs, your heels inward, activating your thighs, and then relax, okay? And then just check in. You can maintain a little bit of that sensation of drawing your heels towards each other to activate your legs, okay? Lovely. So we'll start with our hands on our hips and step your feet a little bit wider so they're about the width of your hip bones here. Okay, so two options for the next one. So shift the weight over to one leg. I'm going to shift it over to my left leg and lift my right heel off the floor, bending my right knee. And then, so option one, just lift your knee and rotate out to the side. So similar to what we were doing when we were laying on our back. and you can go in either direction if that feels nicer. Good, so option 2, lift your knee as you rotate out to the side, then step your foot back. And you can either lift your knee out to the side and rotate to come forward, or just do one direction, outward and stepping back. Knee coming forward, outward, stepping back. Good, so that's option 2, or option 3, outward, your knee rotates outward, step back, and then rotate inward as you return. Good, so just do that at your own pace, no rush. If you want to make it more challenging, you can bring your arms overhead or in front of you or out into a T, just making sure I'm not too close to that cabinet. Okay, great, so we'll do 2 more on this side, or stop at any time if it feels intense, and again, you can do it without that step back if that's more comfortable today. Lovely, last one. Good, and then we'll come back to mountain pose, and just take a moment and notice, how does the right side of your body feel? How does it compare to the left side of your body? Do you feel lower, connected to the ground in one foot, a bit more open perhaps? And then we'll do the other side. So just take a moment, stand in mountain pose, imagine your heels are drawing towards each other. Notice shoulders over your hips, hips above your knees and ankles. Good. So then stepping your feet hip width apart, hands on your hips. Same options. Option 1, lift your knee up, open it out to the side, lower down, and you might stay with that. Good. Option 2, lift your knee up, open it out to the side, stepping back to your lunge. So same option as before. Good. And option 3, opening your knee out to the side, and when you return, drawing your knee out to the side before rotating forward. Good. So we'll just play with that at your own pace. You can do it quite slowly if that's more comfortable for you today. Or you might do it if doing it faster is easier in your balance. Just see what feels nice. Good. I'll do 1 more. And then stepping your feet together, give everything a little shake, and just notice how you feel, shoulders over hips. Good, so we'll do another balance. Again, you might need to stand near a wall or have some support nearby as an option. So just coming to your mountain pose, just sense your feet, your legs, option to draw your heels towards each other to activate your legs and your bottom. And then choose one leg. I'm shifting my weight over to my left leg, so you kind of shift over so it's like the leg comes into the center. Hips stay level, bend your other knee. I'm bending my right knee, turning it out to the side, bottom of my foot resting on my ankle. Good, so just check in with how that feels. Good little rotation if you'd like to. We can start to make that into our tree pose by lifting your foot higher off the floor, or seeing if you like to keep your toes there. Maybe you like to have your palms touch in front of your heart, arms overhead. If you like the sense of that arms overhead, you might start to lengthen your fingers up towards the ceiling, and that helps to lengthen the side body. Good, and creates a nice length when we talked about aligning our knees above ankles and stacking the shoulders and hips up in that same line. So we can have that, add our arms and our fingertips to that line. Good. You can have your arms out to this in a V as well. Just see where you'd like to be. Good, so 1 more breath here. Lovely. And then when you're ready, very slowly, just coming out of your tree, climbing down, and rotate from your thigh to bring your knee forward at your own pace. Relax your arms, give everything a little shake. Okay, great. So back to our mountain pose. And just notice right side to left for a moment, back, hips, feet. And then we'll do the other side. Option to draw your heels towards each other, shift the weight over to the other leg. So I'm shifting it to my right, comes to the center of my body, other knee bends, rotating out to the side. See where you'd like to place the foot here on this side. And no rush to do the arms, but whenever it feels comfortable, you can explore if you like to change your arm movements. You can have your hands on your hips, in front of you, palms touching overhead, or that V if you like that kind of sense of openness in your chest and arms reaching out. Good. So come out of that at any time. So 2 more breaths here if you're comfortable in your tree pose. Lovely. And then when you're ready, very slowly emerging from your tree, relaxing your arms, bringing your knee forward, legs straight, and you can give everything a little shake again. Okay. So we'll do 1 more balance. So we're going to start sort of the same when we did the knee lifts. Good, so I'm going to do a little side view for this one. Good, so option 1, so feet about the width of your hips. So start, shift the weight over to one leg. So I'm using my left as my standing leg. Right knee bends, and you can start to lift here, your knee off the floor for a little balance. Good, so option to stay here. You can bring your toes out at any time. If you want to, you can start to straighten your leg, and then lead with your heel, so your heel starts to reach behind you. and add a little lean forward. So that's option 2. If you want more, you can bring your arms overhead. They might come out to a T, or you can bend your elbows, rest your hands on your lower back. If you want to come into this deeper, just slowly start to hinge. So you keep that long length, like a line from your heel to the top of your head. And you can slowly start to hinge forward. So there's no pressure to come into that deeply, but you might bring your chest parallel to the floor. Good, so we're kind of thinking about keeping our hips sort of level, so it doesn't feel like one hip's a lot higher than the other. Good, so your knees pointing towards the floor. So come out at any time, and when you're ready, just very slowly imagine there's a string on your toes, and it's drawing your toes forward, so you kind of hinge as one unit back upwards. Good, so when you're upright at your own pace, step your feet about the width of your hips. We'll inhale, arms up, exhale, sit as if it's a chair pose. Let your arms relax down. And do that again at your own pace. Inhaling up, exhaling, relaxing down. You can almost lead with your tailbone, and it helps to relax the lower back. One more. Good. And then we'll do the other side for that little balance. Good. So standing, feet hip width apart. Shift the weight over to the other leg. I'm shifting it to my right. That little bend of your knees, like your knees lifting with a string straight up. So stay anywhere in that range that feels comfortable. Maybe you add that little straightening of your leg. Lead with your heel to draw it behind you. Do this at your own pace. Just coming through the same options again. Good. And again, wherever your arms like to be for your balance. And again, you don't have to come deeply into it. Just up wherever that feels nice. Good. You can even reach your fingertips towards the floor if that's more comfortable for a little balance assistance. Lovely. So no rush, but when you're ready, we'll start to think about coming out. Imagine that string on your toes, drawing your toes forward so you can hinge up as one unit. Good, so no rush, but when you're out again, we'll do that same reset. Feet about hip width, inhaling up, exhale, relax your arms through your shoulder sockets, letting them relax towards the floor as your knees bend. You can adjust the space between your feet so it feels comfortable. Good, one more. Lovely. Good, and then we're going to come down to the ground through a squat position. So if you turn your legs out to the side through that rotation in your hip sockets, and just feel again that stacking of shoulders over your hips, and bring your arms out into a T, and imagine your fingers are trying to reach in opposite directions. And then as you exhale, just very slowly start to bend your knees. So stop at any point here. You might come to bring your bend your knees and bring your bottom towards the floor. Good. And then very slowly start to rotate to the side. So you're reaching your fingers, and one arm starts to reach up towards the ceiling. The other hand might come to the floor, and you can do this if you're higher, so just wherever it's comfortable. Good. And you might look up at your fingertips. Lovely. And then we'll come back to center and do the other side when you're ready. So exhale, and again, just isn't to that as much as feels comfortable. Lovely. And then when you're ready, very slowly coming back. And then we'll sit on our bottom with our legs extended in front of us. And just sit so your shoulders are above your hips, and you might have a little bend in your knees to find that alignment. Good. So just relaxing here, your legs even. Options to sit on a block. Feel your sitting bones in connection with the ground. And as you inhale, slowly bring your arms up overhead. Notice your sitting bones, but your fingers lengthen up. And as you exhale, fold from your hips to slowly come forward. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. You can relax your hands onto your straight legs, or hands onto your toes, or between your legs, wherever that's comfortable. Good. So one more breath here. And you might feel your hips kind of lengthen or hinge back. Good. Lovely. And then when you're ready, just very slowly imagine the top of your head is lengthening away from you. You can reach your fingers long and hinge back up. Great. Okay, so we're going to come to lay on our back with our knees bent. And just check in so you can, the next one, we're going to do a recline cobbler pose. You can do it with your feet on the floor, so that's one option. You can place your feet next to each other, butterfly your knees open, and bring the bottoms of your feet to touch. And just notice where that's comfortable. So if this feet creates any discomfort on your lower back, you might place your hands underneath your tailbone, or to reduce that arch, you can lift your feet off the floor and do the same thing. So you're holding onto your ankles and drawing your heels towards each other. So just wherever that's comfortable. Good, so two options. Feet on the floor, butterflying open, or feet elevated, not elevator. Bringing the bottoms of your feet to touch. Good. So just notice where that feels comfortable for your body today, Just take a moment to observe where your arms would be if you have your feet on the floor. Where are your arms comfortable? Good. One more breath here. And very slowly bring your knees towards each other again. Good. And make a little adjustments to feel comfortable. Okay, so we'll start with our both knees bent and your feet on the floor for the next movement. Lift one foot off the floor and draw your thigh towards your stomach. Relax your hips evenly into the ground. So I'm holding onto my right leg and I'm just relaxing my hips evenly into the ground and relaxing my shoulders. So just see where that's comfortable for you. Now we're going to flex the foot and then lengthen your heel away from you. And just hold onto your leg wherever that's comfortable, behind your thigh or calf muscle. It doesn't matter where your leg is. You can have a little bend if that's more comfortable. But it's quite nice to think about lengthening your heel away so you can feel that lovely space that creates. And notice if you're lifting up towards the ceiling and you can relax your hips evenly into the ground. Good. And one more breath here. Lovely. And then slowly bend your knee, foot on the floor, and just relax for a moment. Notice how the right side of your body feels compared to your left. We'll do that same leg again. So lift the same foot off the floor, draw your thigh towards your stomach, flex your foot, lengthen your heel away. Just do that at your own pace. If you have like a strap or a towel, you can use that here. And then as an option, the other leg, you can straighten onto the floor. Just check in if that's comfortable. If you want more, you can start to lift your chest towards your leg. And you can almost think about bringing your nose or your forehead towards your knee. So just do that as much as feels comfortable, no pressure. Good. And then when you're ready, very slowly relax upper body, bend your knees, feet on the floor. To check in, notice how the right side of the body feels compared to the left. You can check in with your legs straight if you prefer. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So bend your knees to start, feet on the floor, opposite leg. Lift your foot off the floor. Draw your thighs close to your stomach. This feels comfortable so you can really feel that connection. And that helps to relax the lower back and your bottom. Good, then we'll flex that foot. Slowly lengthen your heel away, wherever that's comfortable. But make adjustments so your hips feel even, your shoulders can relax into the mat, so the back of your head relaxes into the floor. Good. So one more breath here. Lovely. And then gently come straight into the next one. So if you bend your knee, draw your thigh towards your stomach, flex your foot again, straighten your leg. Notice where that's comfortable. So the second option, foot on the floor, you can straighten your leg, or you might start to lift your chest, forehead towards your knee. Just hold your leg wherever that's comfortable. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. And then gently bend your knees, feet on the floor, and just rest for a moment, either knees bent or legs straight, wherever that's comfortable. Good. Okay. And then just start to make any adjustments to your body to feel at ease. We'll do one more movement. If you bend your knees again, place your feet on the floor and just prepare for a little bridge pose. So feet are about the width of your hips, heels as close to your bottom as feels comfortable, hands, palms facing down. Draw your navel inward, start to scoop your tailbone up, lift your bottom away from the floor. Just lift as high as feels comfortable. Come down at any time. It's nice to keep your neck, your head gazing upwards, so your eyes gazing upwards, so your neck is nice and neutral. If you have like a yoga block, a couple of books, you can place them under your bottom to rest. And more intensity, you can bring your arms overhead or lift one foot off the floor at a time. Good, so just check in. You can practice that at your own pace. Good. Come down at any time, relaxing one vertebrae. We'll just stay for another breath. Good, and then when you're ready, relax your arms down either side of your hips, feet both on the floor, exhaling, lowering your spine one at a time, one vertebrae at a time. Good, so we're going to lift up again to bridge very slowly. So tailbone tips up. Good. And then this time, lower your right hip down first, your left hip down first, one at a time until your hips are just floating above the ground, and then slowly articulate each vertebrae down. Good. And then we'll bring our knees to our chest, hold your shins. You can start to bring forehead up towards your knees. Just check in how that feels. You might add a little rocking side to side or forwards and backwards. Good. And then open your arms out to the side. Feet can stay elevated or on the floor. Exhale, lower both knees over to the right side for a moment. You can straighten one leg if that's comfortable. Hold onto your toes as an option and see where you'd like to turn your head. You might intensify or deepen the rotation by turning your head away from your knees. Good. And then very slowly we'll bend both knees, come back to center, roll onto our back again. And just do the other side when you're ready. Slowly relax your knees over to the other side, same options, maybe straightening one leg, holding onto your toes. See where you'd like to turn your head here. Relax both shoulders evenly into the ground. It helps create a nice release in your lower back, your hips, your rib cage, your chest starts to open a bit. Good. And then when you're ready, slowly bring your knees back to center. Take any stretch that feels nice for your body. So if that's a nice full body stretch, or you might do a little happy baby pose here, do any movement that feels nice. And then you can come to relax back into your mat. Make any adjustments. You might have your legs straight or your knees bent. And just take a few moments to relax into the mat. Notice your inhalation. Notice your exhalation. Observe your touching points on the floor. Just starting to soften and relax into the mat. Just let go and turn inward for a few moments of rest. Feeling the effects of your practice on your body, on your breath, on your mind, and perhaps how these three things have a connection or relationship. You're welcome to stay here longer in your relaxation pose for a few moments, but I'll leave you now, and thank you for coming to practice with me today. Feel free to check out any of the other videos we have on Facebook or also on the Essex Sport YouTube page. And you can shoot us over any questions or comments on Messenger. So thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day.